afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. Tonight we have a good one here. It is the Adventure in Pixels Land and Bodyscape Photography 100 here at the Phoenix Raceway. We of course have the Checkered Flag Auto Supply Scrambler Series with the Red Light Racing crew, and I tell you what, season number 17 about to kick off here tonight at the Phoenix Raceway. It's going to be an awesome time, an awesome schedule here, and I am looking forward to it. Tonight we kick off the action. Last season we saw Maxime Theorault picking up the championship. We will have to see if he can go back to back in the championships, but this is the Scrambler Series, and what that means, folks, that may be just tuning in for the first time, it means we don't run the same cars every week. Every week we switch them on up, and these drivers have a different challenge, not only going to a different racetrack, but switching up the cars as well. Everything from the next gen to the trucks to the Xfinity cars, and then even throwing in some ARCA cars in there as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. We have, it looks like, 26 cars here tonight on the premise. Dalton Williamson on the fastest in practice on the left side of your screen here. So I am pumped up. We got, of course, once again, give a big shout out to Adventure Pixel coming on board here tonight, sponsoring tonight's race. As we head on over to qualifying, we will have to see how this shakes on out and who will pick up the first pole of season number 17. The 61 machine looked pretty quick. We may have to go check out him. If not, I believe we have cars rolling to the speedway. It looks like first one out is the number 13 machine of Josh Buckley. So we'll take a look at the Checkered Flag racing machine, the 13M of Josh Buckley, heading down the backstretch here for the first time, getting that Chevy Camaro wound up and up to speed, and off of turn number 3. Josh Buckley almost gets a piece of the wall, but he's on the clock here. Here at Phoenix, as you can see right there, folks, can cut the dog leg. So we will have to see how aggressive these drivers are here tonight to see what kind of moves they'll make. Like we saw before, it is the Adventure in Pixels 100, so 100 laps here tonight around the Phoenix Raceway, luckily under the lights, so that's always making some paint schemes pop here tonight. A nice looking car from the 13M, that blue and flat black, looking very sporty out here. Lap number 1 for Buckley, good enough for a 27.82 right now. Quick time 27.24 right now. Sean Single in the 11 machine right now, sitting at the top of the standings, as it looks like Buckley on the final lap through 3 and 4 for the final time. Josh Buckley does improve to the top as he just gets dethroned by Chris Hammett. So second lap might be where it's at. Let's take a look here at the fastest guy in practice. This is Dalton Williamson in the 61 machine, getting that thing wound up here, going down the backstretch for the first time. We'll have to see how he can go as Sean Butler in the 88 machine jumps to the top of the charts. He's right now quick time with a 27.00, so we'll have to see if anyone can get in those 26s. If they want a shot at the pole, they're going to have to do that. James Skelton jumps up to P number 2 in the 86 machine. That moves Zach Mitchell in the 8 down to P number 3, as we got the handful, about 8 cars still left to take a lap, one of these being Dalton Williamson, and looks like throwing away this first lap. So Williamson putting all his eggs into this basket of the second lap, all the way down to that inside safer barrier of pit road. So Williamson looking for every 100th of a second in this lap. We'll have to see if it works out for him, because with throwing away that first lap, folks, it leaves it just one shot to make it happen. This is Williamson's chance here through 3 and 4. He comes for the final time at the stripe. The 61 machine goes P number 4, so not quite enough to dethrone Sean Butler here, as it looks like a handful of cars here still left, but it looks like at the moment Sean Butler maybe with the quick time, as we got another car out on the speedway. Looks like the 18 in the timing, scoring 22 on the car. Trent Potter out here tonight in the Ford Mustang. And as you can see, if you've been keeping up with the current NASCAR news and whatnot for this season, the Toyotas and the Fords. Oh, it's heads up. Trent Potter, big time out of sorts. He somehow saves that race car. Save it again, Trent. Man, he wheeled that thing and kept that thing out of the wall. So no backup car for the 22 on the car, Trent Potter, but maybe a new pair of underpants, as he'll call that thing done here for qualifying. As I was saying, the Ford Mustangs having the new Dark Horse body, a different nose. Same with the Toyota Camrys. You'll see different noses on those cars, but the Chevy Camaro still staying the same as last season as we get things wrapped on up here. But Sean Butler in the number 88 machine right now with the quick time here tonight. So I want to give congrats to Sean here, picking up the first pole of the season, as it looks like qualifying just about to be wrapped up. Then, of course, we'll head to the race time, and that's where it gets fun, folks. Of course, here tonight, you saw while we got a second here, you saw the commercial for Premier Setups. If you're interested in some open setups for any sort of oval, road, or dirt racing, be sure to check out Premier Setups. Use the code in the description and use that link to support Turn 3 and the crew that supports us as we get ready here for 100 laps. These drivers getting up on the grid and getting ready to do this thing. Race number 1 of the season. Clean slate for these drivers. This could set up a good start for the season or a start that they were not hoping for. So a lot to go on here tonight in these 100 laps, but we'll head down trackside and head through tonight's Celeratus Legal starting lineup for the Adventure in Pixels 100. Starting on the pole will be the 88 Chevy Camaro of Sean Butler. Tis outside the top qualifying Toyota Camry. It is James Skelton in the 86. Row number 2 is Zach Mitchell in the number 8 Ford Dark Horse Mustang. And tis outside Dalton Williamson in the 61. Rolling off P number 5 will be Michael Trevarthen in the 2, with Max Thieralt in the 42, rolling off 6. Starting P number 7 will be the 12 machine of Eric Stout, and tis outside, rolling off P number 8, will be the 64 Jason Wells. Then back in 9th, we will have the 6 car of Chris Hammett, and rounding out the top 10 is Richard Murdoch in the 01 machine. Rolling off P number 11 will be Josh Buckley in the 13 machine, with Ethan Troutman in the 62, rolling off 12. 13th will be Sean Single in the 11. 14th going to the 77 of Doug Neal. 15th is Peyton Johnson in the 15, with Brandon Feeney in the 38 machine, rolling off 16th. 17th will be the 9 of Willie Kirk, and tis outside Donald Bennett in the 31. Starting 19th is the 98 of Ryan Oldani in the 98, with Ken Allen in the 81 machine, rolling off 20th. 21st is Jeff Souza. 22nd, Trent Potter. 23rd, Tim Combs. And starting shotgun on the field, we have Roger Muth in 24. 25th, Rob Higgins. 26th is Bob Higgins. As we get ready to rock and roll a short pace lap, as Sean Butler leads the field to green. And Sean Butler on the loud pedal. We are green flag racing here in the deserts of Phoenix. So already Sean Butler looking pretty good. Already for second though, 3 wide for, they thought about it for a second, as Michael Trevarthen, a man on a mission here early, already up 3 spots from that start. So Trevarthen trying to waste no time whatsoever to the cars around him. Throughout the field, side by side racing as they come off of turn number 4 for the first time. One car sideways. That's the 13 machine of Josh Buckley. He will spin in front of the field, get collected as we try and go back to it. He will get some damage as we get our first yellow flag for the red light racing here at Phoenix. It looked like Josh Buckley maybe just got loose in the transition and he tried to save that car, but it wasn't enough. Came up in front of the field and looks like one car definitely got that 13 machine pretty hard. Yeah, you can see that car kind of bounce through the transition there, folks. That upsets it enough that he gets behind a little bit on the steering, has too much wheel to the right, and these cars have zero side force, let's say, as we see the 31 machine of Donald Bennett try and go by his buddy, and man, Bennett makes some pretty hard contact, and then Bob Higgins on the brakes here. I think he gets it woed up enough, maybe just a tap to the rear bumper of Josh Buckley, but Bob Higgins should be all right on the damage side of things. But a tough break for Buckley here early, who started in right around the top 10, now back to dead last here early. I see we got some race fans in the YouTube chat lands. Looks like we got Jeremy cheering on Murdoch. Sweet, thanks for tuning on in. We'll try and get some good screen time for him. And it looks like Brandon Feeney over under that he finishes in 20th. Well, right now with that takes out a few cars, so I'm feeling good about you, Brandon. I'm going to go the over here for the 38. I think you can squeak yourself for sure in the top 15 when it's all said and done. As under the first yellow flag here tonight, happening on lap number 2 with the 13 machine getting loose in the dog leg and looping it on in there. And hearing it from the driver of the 13 machine over the radios, he said it just bottomed on out, and we saw that car hopping like it was after it bottomed out. And these things are so hard to control once it steps out from underneath you, because these next gen bodies have no real side force. These side panels are pretty symmetrical in these cars, so if you get sideways, you only got that tiny little spoiler on the back to kind of help you and save you. Besides that, it's all about how quickly you can catch the car without putting in too much wheel. As we got lights extinguished on the raceway, we are going back to green flag racing next time by. And as we didn't quite get to talk about it too much in that first start because we're still going through the grid, but you can see here the pace car heads in really early and then down the long backstretch here till they get in the restart zone. I believe the field using the restart zone here tonight, so sometimes here in iRacing it can be not you can play some games, let's say, and restart here if the league allows it or whatnot, but here tonight, trying to keep it legit, have to wait till the Geico restart zone right here in the middle of turns 3 and 4 as we get the green flag back out. Sean Butler shot out of a cannon. He once again gets a great restart from that 88 machine as everyone else fans on out as they head back into turn number 1. So further on back here, some side-by-side racing as everyone tries to get sorted out. Top 2 single file battle for third as Zach Mitchell trying to get around the 86 of James Skelton. Skelton up top, Mitchell down on the bottom side. Let's see how low Mitchell will cut it. Not too low. Lowest car right now, our leader Sean Butler, cutting that dog leg all the way down. Trevarthen, though, getting a good run off at turn number 4. He closes to about a car length to our race leader out in front. Looks like James Skelton able to defend the position. Now everyone's single filed out for the most part, except first car side by side. Richard Murtaugh trying to go on the move, trying to get around the 64 machine of Jason Wells. Wells trying to work around the top side. Murdoch down low. As now Murdoch peaks to the inside of the 11 of Sean Single here into turn number 2. But it is going to be very difficult here tonight to put the power down on this inside lane off of turn number 2. We'll see cars maybe be a little bit better at the apex if they save that right front a little bit better. But where the rubber meets the road is going to be off of turn number 2. How well these drivers can put this power down, as that will be the question of the night. Because I think once these things get sorted on out in longer runs, I think we'll see the top side start to come in more and more, especially off of turn number 2 and off of turn number 4 here. But up in front, battle for the race lead. Michael Trevarthen down low. Sean Butler trying to defend on the top side. Trevarthen the last couple laps looking very sporty in that number 2 machine. Sean Butler maybe trying to save some stuff, knows they got a long distance to go. We had that first yellow lap, number 2, since then been clean and green, as we now look to complete lap number 10 of 100. So already now, folks, a 10th of the way done. As with these guys side by side, it's allowing the rest of the field, like James Skelton, to close in the gap, let's say. As we jump back, let's jump back a little bit further, getting some battles here. Tim Combs trying to hold off the second pack here. Looks like he has Brandon Feeney and the Feeney Call number 38 machine trying to put some pressure on that 17 machine. And then Trent Potter, we saw him have a big kind of moment in qualifying, luckily able to keep that car underneath him. But looks like Potter right now running in that 18th position, maybe about to be under 5 from Jeffrey Souza. As we jump back here around the top 5, Eric Stout in the top 5 for the first time here tonight, up 2 spots from where he started. But Michael Trevarthen still out in front, but James Skelton getting around our pole sitter Sean Butler. Skelton now looking to be on the charge, runs that higher line in turn number 2 there, folks, trying to get that run down that back stretch, and looks like able to close up to about a car length on Trevarthen. So we'll see if Skelton maybe might be a man on a mission here now. As it looks like throughout the field here, folks, single filed on out. Everyone kind of riding on around, seeing what their car's feeling like, seeing if they want to take it a little bit more easy than the cars around and push a little bit. It is definitely game plan time of how you want to set up your race here, because if it goes green to the end, we'll probably have one green flag pit stop, and that will be a interesting part of the race, as drivers will need to make sure they hit all their marks, because if you lose a little bit of time on pit road, it could cost you quite a few spots, as everyone pretty much, you know, within a 10th or 2 to the cars around them. As further on up, we get some side-by-side battles now for 3rd through the 5th position, is now Zach Mitchell to the top side of Sean Butler. Butler and Mitchell drag race down the backstretch here. They'll dive it down into turn number 3. Butler washes up just a little bit, has to wait on the gas just that split second longer. That allows Mitchell to go on around, and here comes Dalton Williamson to the inside of Eric Stout. Williamson maybe picking back up the pace just a little bit in that 61 machine. Took it easy on the tires, it seemed like, for the first couple laps. Now saying it's time to turn it on up just that little bit more. I think Sean Butler has that game plan. Let these guys go around them that want to push, and then here in about lap 20, 25, start matching their pace. If not, maybe start pushing a little bit more around the cars around you. See what is in store of that car, see how much tire he did. As, oh man, Sean Butler almost in the back of Zach Mitchell. He had to slam on the brakes. That opens up the door for Dalton Williamson now, as Butler right on the door of that 61 machine into turn number 3. These guys will drag race down the dogleg. Williamson a lot shorter track with cutting that dogleg, able to get up in front of that 88 machine. Now here comes Eric Stout sniffing a little bit of clean air to the inside of Butler, as they almost make contact off of turn number 2. And you can see that run that Butler gets from that high side almost dives it into the inside of Dalton Williamson. That could have been a very bold move already here on lap 20. So already 20 laps coming up in the books here of our 100. As now side by side is now Sean Butler under pressure from last season champion, that 42 machine of Max Theral. He will keep Butler up, and they make contact through the dogleg. And that's the, right there, folks, we got to see it live. That's one of my talking points I was going to bring up later, but now they force it on me. That dogleg can be very, very tricky on trying to guess where that car to your inside's going. Some drivers will cut that dogleg very aggressively, like we saw Dalton Williamson. Other times, like Max there, we'll see him not go below that yellow line, and that car on the outside almost kind of has to guess where they're going. If they guess wrong, you know, if Max was to Butler's left rear, that would have definitely turned the 88 machine and probably sent both those cars to the infield garages and had an early night. But luckily they just trade a little paint, sort themselves out. I'm sure Butler not the happiest with that, but luckily they continue to race. As we head up front, Michael Trevarthen out in front, but maybe not for long, as James Skelton trying to roll the high side. We saw him float it all the way to that wall. Now Skelton has the advantage. He has the run, and he has the race lead. New race leader, the 86 machine of James Skelton. So Skelton picking up his first laps led here on lap 24. That moves Trevarthen to second. Zach Mitchell now trying to reel in Trevarthen. And here comes Dalton Williamson. He's turning up the heat here, and he is a man on a mission. Last time by, Williamson, one of the best cars on track based on lap time. Only car that was faster, our race leader of James Skelton, fastest lap on track with a 27.70. So not too bad a fall off, as best lap by anyone was a 27.25, so about half a second of fall off, 25 laps in the race. So drivers kind of gauging that based on maybe how hard they push for the second run if we do get some pit stops. As we head back a little bit further, right around the bottom side of the top 10, 3 cars going at it. We got Rich Murdoch, Chris Hammett, and Sean Single all duking it out here for 8th, 9th, and 10th on the speedway. So Hammett with the preferred line on the top side, able to defend from the 01 machine. Now does Sean Single maybe have a little bit of run? Can he make a move on the 01 machine? Looks like right now pretty content with riding at the moment where he's at. So everyone pretty much spaced on out for the most part. You see some cars pretty close to each other, but no real side-by-side action at the moment. Further on back, we got to give this guy a shout out. You guys are used to hearing his voice, but Roger Muth making a few select starts here tonight. He's having some damage, so probably not the night that Roger wanted, but so far still out here on track in that 93 machine. So I just had to highlight the old Muth in the booth here. As right in front of him, the next pack up, we have a battle. William Kirk out here in the Mountain Dew number 9 machine, trying to work on over the 40 of Rob Higgins. We got Kirk down low, Higgins up on the top side. Now Higgins has the preferred line here coming off of turn number 2. He will have the run and clear him. Now Kirk has to go shut the door on Tim Combs in the 17 machine. Combs will try and cross him on over, but won't quite have that run to fully have a nose to the inside. So Combs maybe having to rebuild that momentum, see if he can track back down the two cars in front of him. Looks like he will. Further up front, once again, battle around the bottom side of the top 10. Sean Single now going around the 01 machine of Murdoch. As Murdoch says, not so fast though. He gets a great run off of turn number 4, able to stay side by side as these two dive down into turn number 1. And yeah, look at this. Maybe Sean Butler just doesn't have the race pace. Butler sliding back all the way now to P number 8 after starting on the pole. So you got to wonder what's going on with this 88 machine, or maybe just doesn't have that race pace in this car here tonight. As, oh, watch out, Sean Single, big time sideways. He keeps it out of the inside wall and the outside wall. As, hang on to it, buddy. He does. Wow. Save of the night going to Sean Single here in the race. I mean, losing about 8 spots when it's all said and done, 8, almost 10 spots. But man, a lot better than the alternative of wrecking that race car and calling it a night. Awesome save by the 11 of Sean Single. Here we have a battle between Peyton Johnson and Jason Wells here. Johnson trending in the right direction, one of the biggest movers of the race so far. He is up 4 spots from where he started, up to the P11, trying to find his way into the top 10 for the first time here tonight. Here we see Sean Single trying to get that 11 car back underneath him, because he has to be careful. Even though he just had that huge save, an awesome job, he has to take these couple laps, you know, really conservative. That right rear definitely very hot, not gonna grip super well, so Sean gonna have to be very cautious getting on the loud pedal. And for sure by, you know, probably 2 more laps, he can start turning up the pace that he was running back in 10th and see how many cars he can reel back in here tonight. Oh, as we get our second yellow flag of the night here at Phoenix, we're going to try and see what happened. It looks like, oh, maybe one of the drivers we were just talking about, Peyton Johnson, having some issues. We're going to throw it to the turn 3 replay and see what happened to Johnson here off of turn number 2. As we see Peyton here in that black and red number 15 machine, gets a little loose there. You saw the wiggle, a second one, and yeah, the final one right there, ever so slightly. That car steps out from underneath him, having too much wheel to the right, and just sliding that car, luckily down low, out of the way from everyone. And I believe that is the only damage that car has, so I believe Peyton Johnson can continue, as it looks like we got some strategy going on here tonight. Looks like 6 cars staying on out on track, everyone else down on pit road. First car out, Zach Mitchell, then the 42 machine, the 01 of Richard Murdoch, next off on pit road. And looks like the leaders now down on pit road, so these guys missing the opportunity to pit that first time. They are going to cycle back to the end of pits unless the first whole group entered a closed pitch, which I would be pretty hard to believe. So this is now going to make this race really interesting, as we'll take a look at the end of pit road, see who wins this 6-car race off of pit road. But when it's all said and done, it looks like Zach Mitchell going to file out to our race leader. And it looks like, based on pit stop times, all drivers taking 4 fresh Goodyear tires, filling their cars up with Sunoco race fuel. And it looks like the 86 machine of James Skelton does win that race off of pit road. As we head up to the front, Zach Mitchell leading the way here tonight after some shakeups under our first pit stops here tonight. And oh boy, folks, this is where it gets wild. We are starting to approach that halfway point. Fresh tires underneath them, and that means these drivers got to be a little bit cautious on this restart. Don't want to fire too aggressively, let's say, get some wheel spin, or even on lap number 2, as we saw Josh Buckley be a victim of these cars bottoming out if you hit that transition wrong. Looks like the 31 machine of Donald Bennett gets the wave around here, so Bennett will get one of those laps back here in that hashtag turn 3 posse machine. A nice looking race car out here from that 31 machine. Always glad to see Donald out here on the speedway. But once again, lights are out around the Phoenix Raceway. We get ready to go back green flag racing here. For the Adventure in Pixels Phoenix 100. Front row looking like Zach Mitchell, down low Max in the 42 machine to his outside. We get ready to rock and roll here into the Geico restart zone. Zach Mitchell on the loud pedal. We go green flag racing here once again at Phoenix. Top 3 already single filed on out. First car side by side. Richard Murdoch looking to the inside of the 6 with Chris Hammett. These guys go side by side here and will be dead even down the backstretch. Hammett able to drive in a little bit deeper, but Murdoch has the shorter line around that inside. How aggressive does he get? Cutting the apron. You see that car bouncing around, sparking. He almost gets clear of Hammett, but Hammett now has the momentum. He will get the better traction on the top side, but man, power move by Murdoch. He will clear him off at turn number 2, excuse me. Give Richard Murdoch P number 3. Man, I know some people in the YouTube watching would love to see Murdoch hang on to a podium chatting with me after the race. He's in a great spot to do so. Just has to hang on to that car, keep those tires underneath him. He's looking pretty sporty here at Phoenix. Why don't I say, I'll give you guys a break from listening to my voice here. Why don't we let the cars do the talking? And we'll do a little turn 3, turn it up here tonight. In the Adventure in Pixel Phoenix 100. Alrighty, folks, we head back to some side-by-side racing action here on the Speedway. The 98 machine of Ryan O'Danny with Dalton Williamson to his inside. Remember, folks, Williamson, Skelton all had to restart towards the back because they pitted on the second lap of pit stops there. So they're having to race their way back through the field as we get ever so closer to the halfway point here tonight. Looks like now Tim Combs trying to be on the move of the 98 machine, but Ryan able to roll into turn number 1 very nicely on that top side, able to hang on to P number 14. As we saw during the turn 3 turning up there, folks, our race leader, Zach Mitchell, getting a piece of the wall off of turn number 4, and I believe some other cars, so you can tell the pace definitely picking on up this run. These drivers know it's more go time as we get deeper and deeper into this race. Here, Chris Hammett looking to the inside now, sniffing that left rear quarter panel of Richard Murdoch. Murdoch gonna have to go on the defensive. He will get the momentum, but Hammett having the shorter distance through the dog leg. Here through 3 and 4 they come, and look at Sean Butler. He's having some better pace this run. Butler's currently sitting in that 5th position. Butler, I think, trying to figure out which driver has the advantage, what line he wants to go, see if these two in front of him get sorted on out. Definitely not trying to push the envelope, just trying to pick and choose, but he has to be a little bit careful, as I believe Trent Potter having some issues in the 22 machine. So it looks like we will try and figure out what happened here, but out in front, Zach Mitchell under the yellow lights for the 3rd time here tonight. We'll see the cross flags halfway down, halfway home in the race, and you got to wonder, do drivers come down and try and put some fresh stickers on their car? It's been about 15 laps since they pitted. If you're towards the back, I might take the gamble just to see if you can get an advantage, but here on the turn 3 replay, we take a look at the 22 machine, see what happens with Trent Potter, and gets to the left rear of the 81, that being Ken Allen. Is Potter doing a nice job of mostly hanging on to that race car. Not a ton of damage, but it looks like 4 cars staying on out, everyone else down on pit road. So it is going to be a busy pit road. We're going to sit at the end of pit road and try and figure out, see who wins the race off of pit road. As Sean Butler installed number 1 with qualifying on the pole, will that give him enough of an advantage to come out first? It looks like not. James Skelton first car off pit road, then the 42 machine, then the 6, as it looks like everyone else away. No, actually, I take that back. A little bit of strategy here tonight, as the 86 machine of James Skelton taking 2 tires. Skelton pitted around, I want to say, the 10th position or so. He said, I don't like being back in this pack. I want the advantage of being near the front. So Skelton taking a different approach tonight, trying some different strategy with 2 tires. Looks like the top 3 all gonna stay out on those old tires here tonight. So we are gonna see how this shakes on out, as we are in for a treat, as we'll see how these different strategies play on out right after the halfway point. Under 50 laps to go here at the Phoenix Raceway. And I'll see if we have any information, that being of our race leader, Zach Mitchell. And it looks like maybe not. I don't see. Oh, here we go. Zach Mitchell. Zach Mitchell calling Hastings, I want to say Minnesota, home. He is part of the 4X Racing. That is the team. You see that on the side of the 8 machine. 3 main sponsors. You got Rich D PC and GoBowling.com also on the car. Some cool iRacing accomplishments from our race leader, winner of the Petite Le Mans 8 hours of Fiji and the 12 hours of Bathurst. That is definitely an accomplishment there. The 12 hours Bathurst, one of the trickiest tracks on iRacing with the limited visibility. So it sounds like this guy will have to keep an eye on Zach Mitchell for some road courses, as this guy has a lot of road course experience, and we do go to the Circuit of America, so we might have to keep an eye on Mitchell, as he seems to be pretty good at these road courses. As front row is Zach Mitchell leading the field to green to his outside. The 01 machine of Richard Murdoch. First car on tires is fourth place, the 86 machine. First car on 4 fresh tires, the 42 of Max. As we go back, green flag racing. Zach Mitchell gets away with a great start, as the rest of the field already 3 wide, as it looks like Chris Hammett stuck on the outside. Now we got to wonder how these guys sort on out with these new tires, old tires. As Mitchell away, then side by side for second, as Sean Single trying to get around the 01 machine. Single down low in the 11. Murdoch up top in the 01. Then fresh tires right behind him of Skelton. One car hard in the wall in the back. That is the 22 machine of Trent Potter. Potter bringing out the last yellow this time. Hard impact. I believe that right front definitely broke off that race car. You see that thing wobbling on around. That right front not rolling on Trent Potter. Able to keep that car rolling in the right direction. So we stay green flag racing out in front, but Potter definitely going to be bringing that car down on pit road next time by. So out in front, Zach Mitchell leading the way over Sean Single. Then James Skelton on those 2 tires, making it up to third, as now Max Theall trying to get around the 01 machine of Richard Murdoch for that third position. We go 3 wide just behind, as Hammett, Butler, and Murdoch all trying to sort themselves out. Looks like everyone gets sorted for the most part. As the likes of Mitchell, Single, and Murdoch, you just got to bide your time. Just ride on around for the most part. Everyone around you having fresh tires. Don't want to make any sort of big mistakes, but you know, in your back pocket, you do have some fresh tires. But it seems like tires tonight, not as big as they once were. We see still Zach Mitchell able to check out to a half a second lead over the rest of the field. So new tires are nice, but we'll have to see how they kind of even on out as these guys with brand new tires continue to put laps on them. Further on back, we see Michael Trevarthen trying to work over the 98 of Ryan O'Danny. O'Danny up top, Trevarthen down low here through turns 3 and 4. This is a battle just outside of the top 10, battling for P number 12. As we see Trevarthen cut that dog leg, O'Danny having the momentum up top. Further up front, right around the top 5, Sean Butler trying to get around the old tires of Sean Single. Butler down low, Single up on the top side. These two will dive down into turn number 3. Butler will slide on up and clear just in front of Sean Single. Single having the momentum, but had to get on the brakes just that little bit to allow him in, as almost contact. Richard Murdoch having to get on the binders big time to not get in the back of Single, as Single gets loose off in turn number 2. This will have Single fall back in a hurry, as he able to slide back in the field, but now outside of the top 10. So that shows you just how close these drivers are. One little mistake, even a little bit of wheel spin off these corners, and you can lose more than a handful of spots right there. Up in front, battle for the race lead. Skelton working on Mitchell. Mitchell down low, Skelton on the top side. Drag race down the back stretch here. Mitchell will just have a nose to the inside of Skelton. Skelton not able to clear, but I bet off of turn number 4, new race leader Sean Skelton out in front. Now Skelton has to keep his eyes on that rear view mirror on this all black number 42 machine, because he is of course the 4 with 4 fresh tires. We are gonna have to see how this works on out. But Skelton definitely has had a lot of pace here at Phoenix. We will have to see if that's enough pace on 2 tires to keep the likes of 4 behind. But I tell you what, Zach Mitchell doing an awesome job, currently in the 2nd position. His tires now gonna be over 30 laps old and able to hang on to 2nd. That is impressive stuff to see. Looks like we got a Will Kirk shout out in the broadcast, so we'll go jump to the number 9 Mountain Dew machine. See him out on track here. P number 14 currently trying to hold off the likes of the 81 machine of Ken Allen, as now Allen looks to the inside of the number 9. Right now Will Kirk looking pretty all right, up 3 spots from where he started, currently in the top 15, so hopefully he can stay right around there, as it looks like Tim Combs trying to get on around that number 9 machine. The good old classic battle of a Ford versus Chevy here tonight, as Allen will go way down, cut that dog leg, trying to make this track as short as possible. He will be able to get around the 9 machine of Kirk. Further up front around the P number 9 position, Jason Wells trying to get around the 01 machine of Murdoch, and then Jeffrey Souza trying to join into the fun there. Souza with able to get to the inside of Murdoch, with Murdoch being stuck on the top side, and it looks like Souza able to get around him through 3 and 4. So Souza right now our biggest mover, first time in the top 10 for him tonight. He is up a whopping 13 positions from where he started, so a great night for Jeff so far. He's hoping to get some more though. I don't believe that 4 car's done, as he just barely kisses the wall off of turn number 4 there. That's just rubbing off the graphics a little bit. That car still gonna be totally fine. As the battle for 2nd heating on up, and maybe for 3rd, is our quick time in practice Dalton Williamson up into P number 4. He has been running some of the fastest laps out on track. Him and Dalton, he is Dalton Williamson, him and Chris Hammond right now both under 27 seconds, sorry, 27.65 seconds. So these two definitely having some quick lap times. The question is now, under 30 laps to go, I would say it's going to be pretty close, if not already go time, using up whatever you have left in the tank. And we see Max doing exactly that. Battle for 2nd, the 42 machine down low, the 8 machine of Zach Mitchell up top. And now if I'm Dalton Williamson, I'm trying to get a nose to the inside of the 8, as he got stuck on the top side for a second, but not able to do it. So Williamson gonna have to try and work around the 8 of Mitchell on his own. So some great battles around the top 5. Top 5 kind of on their own island. Then 6th and Butler having a little bit of pressure from Jason Wells, who was a little bit faster than him. So as we approach the 3/4 mark, let's run down our top 10 quick here. James Skelton in the 86 machine leading the way over Max Thierol. In the 42, Zach Mitchell in the 8 rolling off. Looks like still hanging on to P number 3. He's trying to roll this bottom side, keep Dalton Williams at bay. Dalton Williams, of course, in 4th. Rounding out the top 5 is Chris Hammond in 6th. 6th going to Sean Butler. Hammond was in 5th. 7th going to Jason Wells. 8th is Jeffrey Souza. 9th is Ethan Troutman. Haven't talked much about Ethan putting together a nice, quiet, solid run inside the top 10. And then rounding out the top 10, Michael Trevarthen back up inside there. So we see a few cars down on pit road. that being the 01 machine of Richard Murdoch and Doug Neal. Now Sean Single down on pit road. So it looks like these guys getting about 50 laps. So the question is, the guys that pitted at lap number 50, can they make it to the end on fuel? I would have to think so. As maybe not, as we hear the 30 machine now down on pit road. Bob Higgins was a driver that did pit on lap number 50, so we may have some late green flag pit stops before it's all said and done. And folks, we are getting to the closing stages. We now have the to-go ticker out on the left side of your screen. 25 circuits left in the Adventure in Pixels Phoenix 100. As we see Chris Hammett get around Zach Mitchell for that fourth position. What does Hammett have left in the bank to maybe reel in the 61 machine of Dalton Williamson? Right now, Chris Skelton leading the way. Let's ride on board, looking back to the rest of the field as we ride on board with James Skelton here. Skelton last time by, you can see a 27.98. This time by, he was a 27.96. So pretty consistent laps, but Max right behind him in that black number 42 machine. We're looking at about only a few hundredths faster than Skelton. So these top two definitely pretty even. As let's jump on board with Max Thero. Hear him go through the gears, because here with the sequential gearboxes here tonight, we'll hear him shifting gears as Max closing the gap now within 2 car lengths for the race lead. I believe here down the backstretch, we'll hear these drivers grab 5th gear right before they lift. Maybe not. We heard our leader shifting, but looks like Max not doing so. Able to drive Skelton into a mistake there. He will overdrive it now. They're all to the inside. Battle for the race lead here tonight. With 21 laps to go, Max down low, James up on the top side. This won't be an easy pass. James gonna have to make him work for it as they go drag racing down the backstretch. Dead even by the time they get to the break point into turn number 3. Contact off of turn number 4. They trade paint as new race leader, the 42 machine. That might be something we have to talk about post-race if both of them do in fact get on the podium, as we see Skelton send it into turn number 1. Maybe not happy with that move, but that moves Skelton back into second. Now we'll have to see if Chris Hammett has some more left in the tank, as Hammett able to get around Dalton Williams there for third. So under 20 laps to go. Sean Butler under attack from Ethan Troutman. Troutman continues to march forward in this run. Same with the 4 of Jeffrey Souza. As we just talked about, Troutman giving him a little bit of a broadcaster's curse there. He gets big time loose off of turn number 2. Luckily, just losing 1 spot there. Could have been a lot worse for that 62 Green machine. So up for second, yellow flag out here as Skelton tried to head down pit road there, but he will have to back on out of that as we see our 4th time we see the yellow felt out on the speedway. I believe Sean Single, we talked a little bit about him with those different strategies. I believe he was the cause of our 4th yellow flag here tonight. And yeah, it looks like just got too hot into turns number 1, maybe on the throttle a little bit too much, and sliding big time drift for Single, and that's what brings out the yellow flag right there, folks. He will loop it back to the right side, bring it out on the speedway just that little bit. So we will have to go back live though and watch. This is the money stop, folks, everyone down on the lead lap, down on pit road. This is where you make it or break it here, folks, as we got to go to the end of pit road. See who wins the race off of pit road. Max Theorald leading the field down on pit road. As we see drivers getting into their pit box here tonight, who will be the one to try 2 tires? Who's going to be the first with 4? We'll keep an eye here at the pit road. Looks like Skeleton, first one out, he'll take 2. Same with Souza, then the rest of the field taking 4. So top 2 on 2 tires. Everyone else taking 4 that did, in fact, come down pit road. Oh man, folks, this is where it gets wild. And it looks like one car is still staying out. It looks like the Feeney Call machine, Brandon Feeney, in that black and teal blue machine, staying out on the racetrack. So we will have to see how this shakes on out. Skeleton said, you know, for the distance we got to go, those 2 tires didn't feel too bad. He's going to do exactly that. Then Jeffrey Souza also taken 2. First car on 4, the guy that led him down pit road, the 42 machine. And it looks like another car taken 2, Ryan O'Danny in the 98 machine, trying to get his way up with a good finish. I like the call from O'Danny and the crew. So here we go, folks. Hopefully you got a nice snack, some popcorn, maybe a drink in hand, because this is going to be action-packed. I think we got to go all the way up to the spotter stand here for this restart and take a look and see all the stuff that's about to unfold, because it is going to be action-packed. I probably won't stop talking until this checkered flag comes out. So with that, I'm going to take a break right now, get a quick drink of water, and get myself mentally prepared, because this is going to be an awesome race to the finish. Inside of 15 to go. Oh, man. Alrighty, folks, lights are extinguished around the Phoenix Raceway here tonight as we get ready to go into our 4th restart. Brandon Feeney on old tires, leading the field to green on the top side. James Skelton to his inside in the 86 machine, first car on 2. Then Max Theorald in the 42 is the first car on 4 in 4th. It's about to be wild. Let's take a step back and see how this unfolds here tonight as we approach into the restart zone. Brandon Feeney leading the field to green. Feeney on the loud pedal. We go back to green flag racing action here at Phoenix. Feeney gets away with a good start, but Skelton able to keep to the inside. Here comes Max already. Max already to the back bumper of the 38 machine. Skelton using up Feeney, slides him all the way almost to the outside wall, as now Max will go to the inside and further through this field. I tell you what, side by side, 3 wide race in action off of turn number 2. Looks like everyone's sorted on out for the most part. Out in front though, James Skelton trying to run away. Max Theorald trying to keep the pressure on, and here comes the biggest mover, Jeffrey Souza, up into the podium spots. So Souza up into 3rd, 4th, Chris Hammett. Oh, as one car goes around, our pole sitter, Sean Butler, will go around and collect the 9 machine. Oh, that is a tough break for William Kirk, having big time damage to the front end of that number 9, as we will see the yellow flag fall for the 5th time here tonight, as we'll try and get a replay, see what happened off of turn number 2. We'll take a look at the 88 machine of Sean Butler to the inside of Dalton Williamson. and it looks like Butler just get loose, tries to correct it, and once again, we see it time and time again on these cold tires. These drivers getting sideways, putting in too much right side wheel, and then you see William Kirk trying to slide down, shoot that gap to the inside, and sadly, that just closes a little bit too quickly, as we'll ride on board with Williamson and see what his vantage point was. Riding on board with William Kirk, you can see he got a little bit loose, trying to shoot the scrap, and Trevarthen just coming almost out of nowhere. And that is a tough break late in the race for Kirk. He will be down on pit road. Same with Trevarthen and Sean Butler. It looks like Brandon Feeney down on pit road. We'll get those set of tires. He knows he already lost the race lead, so might as well come down, see what he can do with some new tires. Looks like our wave around here, Bob Higgins in the red light, the Checkered Flag Auto Supplies number 30 machine going to be back on the lead lap. Bob Higgins inside the top 20 at the moment. But out in front, it is going to be a slugfest now between Skelton and Thierholt. I tell you what, it is going to be a good one. These two racing aggressively once already with each other. We saw Thierholt throw the fender a little bit to Skelton. Now we sit in that same spot. I'm sure Skelton didn't forget about it. It's going to be a wild one here with inside of 10 laps to go. Like I mentioned before, one of the biggest movers, the biggest mover, Jeffrey Souza, having himself a great night so far, up a whopping 18 spots from where he started. Finds himself in the top 3. Another big mover with that different strategy, Ryan O'Danny. O'Danny's loving what he's seeing. He says keep on wrecking in the back. He could sneak his way into the top 5, currently sitting in P number 5. Another big mover here tonight, Rob Higgins in the number 40 machine. Rob Higgins up 13 spots from where he started. And then the final car with double digits positions move is the man, Roger Muth, in that 93 turn 3 machine. He is up 10 spots from where he started, right inside the top 15. We see the lights go out at the Phoenix Raceway. James Skelton will elect to restart on the inside lane. It is going to be wild. We thought the last one was going to be wild. It proved that right. Now I think it gets even more crazy. By the time we go back green flag racing, we will have 7 laps to go. So Skelton down low, Thierholt to his outside. Row number 2, Souza Hammett. Row number 3, O'Danny and Mitchell. Here we go as we approach the Geico restart zone. Skelton holding up the field. He will swing him wide, try and give a little advantage as he can to Thierholt. He jumps on the loud pedal, gets away with a great start, but Max hangs right with him, right on the back bumper. Here we go, diving down into turn number 1. So far, clean and green. How long does this last? Off of turn number 2, Max looking to the inside. It's going to be a drag race as they'll dive down into turn number 3. Hard on the brakes, these guys knowing it is all go, all take, and no give as one car almost into the outside wall. That's the number 12 machine of Ethan Stout, having to get out of the throttle just a little bit, losing a little bit of time. But right now, Skelton able to hang on. Here comes Jeffrey Souza and Chris Hammett joining the battle here. As, man, they almost gets to the left rear of Skelton. Now Souza has the momentum up top. That 4 machine, that Souza medium machine, looking very sporty, especially on the top side. I think Skelton, if Souza gets to the back bumper, I think Skelton has to block the top side from that number 4 machine. Looks like Jeff just can really roll that center. As one car loose. I think the 6 may have gotten into the back of the 42 machine. Somehow these cars save it. As this time by, we see now under 5 laps to go. We'll have 4 to go at the stripe. James Skelton continued trying to drive away from the field. Chris Hammett now under fire from Dalton Williamson. Hammett up top, Williamson down low. Sorry, Zach Mitchell was the one on the attack. Mitchell able to get up to P number 4. That moves Hammett back to P number 5. Further on back, Jason Wells trying to work over the 98 machine of Ryan O'Danny. This time by, though, we see 3 laps to go. Last time by, we saw the best lap being thrown in by James Skelton. So Skelton trying to use up everything he can in that 86 machine. But Jeffrey Souza right there on the back bumper. Can Souza steal one away here at Phoenix? We'll have to see, because this time by, we see popsicle sticks up in the air. 2 laps to go. 2 more miles left in the Adventure in Pixels 100. Through 3 and 4, they come out in front. So far, Skelton doing everything right, able to hold Souza about a car length back. But if he gets any closer, it could allow Souza to really cut this dog leg. If I'm Souza, I'm cutting this as aggressively as possible. Here goes Souza down low. Battle for the race lead. Souza looking to the inside of Skelton. They'll dive it down into turn number 1 for the final time here tonight. Skelton floats up to the top. Souza trying to keep that car down low. How can he get on the throttle? He can get on it pretty decently. Drag race down the backstretch. Souza not quite enough. Skelton able to shut the door. James Skelton off of turn number 4. Gonna pick up the win from race number 1 here at Phoenix. Souza second. They're all third. Fourth going to Zach Mitchell and Chris Hammett rounding out the top 5. And man, some awesome racing here tonight, folks. That was some great stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a blast to call as we see James Skelton drive back here to the start finish line. And for the Skelton fans here tonight, he's going to go burn him on down here in the front stretch. As James Skelton burning it on down, race number 1 winner in the books here tonight. A awesome job. He was definitely one of the cars to beat tonight. Even with 2 tires, he made it work. As alrighty, James Skelton finishes up the celebrations on the front stretch. We're going to go to commercial break. On the other side, we'll have the Claws Up Charters post-race interviews. We'll be right back.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we come back here to the Phoenix Raceway, and I totally forgot in that great battle for the race win there at the end, I totally forgot to mention our white flag sponsor, that of course being the Feeney Call. So next time, I'm sure I won't hear the end of it, but next time we'll definitely play the little something special we have for the white flag lap. But that time we were so into that battle, we totally forgot. So want to give a quick shout out to the Feeney Call for sponsoring that white flag lap in that awesome battle there. So now we have our third place finisher, last season champion, Max here, coming up in the booth to talk about his race. Max, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
10-4.
Alrighty, man. That was a action-packed race. You and Skeleton, man, throwing on a show with that, 25 to go, and then towards the end, tell us about the race. Finishing on the podium, got to at least feel pretty good walking away with that.
Yeah, it feels good because as the race progressed, I felt like I found a little bit of speed past halfway, especially on the exit of 4. That's where I think I gained the most towards the last 25 laps. And he did a great job with 2 tires on the long run before that next to last caution. And I tried to save, but it didn't really make a big difference. And overall, he was a bit faster, so he deserved it.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like Skeleton was one of the cars to beat. You definitely had some great long run, and I think if that went green, you may have been one of the cars to beat. I mean, what did you figure out for the long run? Did you just take it easy the first couple laps on that right front and right rear? Because, man, this car seemed really sketchy, at least on the cold tires, trying to put the throttle down.
Yeah, early in the run, it was about not putting too much wheel input on entry, but saving some right rear because it got slippery on the exit of 2. And on the long run with last night's practice, that's what I learned. And I thought it would have made a bigger difference. But like I said, it was not as much as other cars with other tire compounds we can have with the Xfinity car, for example.
Gotcha. Some good insight. Well, Max, you had a great season last season, I should say. I believe you picked up the championship. Is that correct?
That's correct, yep.
Awesome. So, yeah, picking up right where you left off, a top 3, some good points walking away. Now, with the Scrambler series, the different cars, which car do you look most forward to, let's say?
Actually, this season I'm looking forward to the next gen to improve the most because that's the one I have the least experience on and the one that I have the least amount of feel. It's linked to force feedback or just visual tire noise, and that's what I need to learn the most and work on. I mean, trucks have been pretty much the same for a long time, and but of course the Gen 4 cars, that's also with high horsepower, low down force, that's also a hoot to drive.
Oh yeah, those cars are a blast. So the field may be in for a long season. As Max, you say these things are your least experienced, but already night number 1 in the books, you're walking away with a podium. Man, that is impressive.
All right, thank you, man.
All righty, Max. Well, before we let you go, I gotta, especially talking to a driver for the first time, give the fans a little bit of insight quick here. What is your sim setup? What do you got for wheel, pedals, and maybe what are you looking at?
I've got a Fanatic Club Sport V2, an old wheel that I've had for about 10 years. Some Fanatic CSR Elite pedals that I've had for more than 10 years. And still rocking the old Oculus Rift headset, which I still enjoy so much. Makes a big difference once I made the move. And a wooden rig that I built from Rick Motec way back then, and it still holding up really strong.
Nice, that is awesome. VR, I heard, is an awesome experience. Definitely allows you to be even more immersive, able to turn your head in the car. So that is very, very cool. Well, Max, we'll let you get rolling, but first, one final time, we'll hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank to bring the 42 machine on the podium here tonight.
Yep, just like every week, my fiance, my friend Max, and my dad, they regular watchers of Turn 3 broadcast. Josh, James, and Richard for this Monday Scrambler series admin duties. Checkered Flag Auto Supply is back on as a main sponsor. And yeah, also a shout out to Souza for a second place finish. So a good, strong early run for him in this season.
Yeah, that is. We'll be talking to him next. So, Max, once again, huge congrats on the third place here tonight, picking up right where you left off last season. You have yourself a great rest of the night, and we will catch you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Alrighty, folks, that was our third place finisher, Max Theorol. I forgot to ask him if I've been butchering his last name. I probably have, so I'll hear about it later. But now we'll head to our second place finisher, that being Jeff Souza. Jeff, do you got a copy? It's Breath of Jet in the booth here.
I got you. How we doing tonight?
Oh, pretty good, eh? I'm a little bit out of breath. That was some action-packed racing to the end. Jeff, you made it interesting there at the end. What do you think you need a little bit more of to get around Skelton there?
Yeah, I really just think I needed a little bit more brake pedal. I was telling James down there I was struggling all of practice into qualifying, even a little bit start of the race there with my brake kind of holding a little bit, 5-10% on the straightaways, and I had to make a big swing at it before the race, and I think it just affected how good I could get down in the corners. But hell, we still ended up second there with and didn't take anybody out, so that's good.
Yeah, that was a awesome run to see you, Jeff, and not only an awesome run there to the end, awesome race all night long. You were a car that was marching through the front no matter what kind of strategy was thrown at you. I mean, 19 spots, by far the biggest mover here tonight. How did you do it?
Yeah, it was tough. You know, this track is a very tough track to pass out. At night, even more so, really, because, you know, we didn't have a lot of fall off, only about a half a second. Last race I ran here was during the day, 120-something track temp. This was very cool track. Tires didn't wear much. I just kind of took care of my stuff there, started the run, first 20 laps or so, and by lap 30, I think my spotter was telling me I was probably top 3 on speed. So we kind of wanted that last run to go green to the finish, and it was looking like that, and a bunch of guys were about to come down pit road and basically hand me the lead, but we kind of had to take 2 there on that last stop, jumped a bunch of guys, and ended up holding on to that second place finish.
An awesome run for you here tonight, Jeff. A second place finish. Gotta be proud of that. I mean, man, that was impressive. Once again, awesome run here tonight. I gotta ask, Jeff, you know, what cars are you looking forward to the most with the Scrambler series, running these different type of cars? Which cars do you have circled on the calendar?
Well, the main one is going to be the sponsored by Souza Media race there at Pocono. With this car, the next gen, in a couple weeks. This next gen is what I run mainly on iRacing. It is my wheelhouse, and, you know, looking back at my stats, it's probably the best car I've run in this league. So anything that we run this car at, especially that Pocono race, where I love Pocono and anything. So that's going to be the main race we're looking at, and then probably the Gen 4s. Those things are usually pretty slicey and squirrely. So anything that you have to really manhandle and wheel it, I think that's going to come into our benefit. And I think the playoffs this year really is going to make to my strengths, and hopefully we'll be able to get there with a win soon or point our way in.
Yep, that would be awesome. And yeah, Jeff, here tonight, you showing your strength in these next gen cars. A second place finish. Awesome stuff there. Real quick for the fans watching at home, I always love to ask the drivers first time talking with them, what is your sim setup like? You know, start to get calibrated with what people are running. What do you have for wheel pedals, and what are you looking at?
We got a Fanatec wheel and pedal base here with one of those nice little next level racing, folding cockpits, and then we got a nice curved one monitor up here in front of us. So I know a couple guys in here have VR or the three monitors, which is on that single. So try to keep it simple, but simple can sometimes get it done, and we've shown in the past that it's enough to get by.
Yep, that it is. As long as you trust that spotter, kind of have that car awareness if they get out in your blind spots. But luckily tonight, this track probably one of the trickiest with those blind spots, especially with the dog leg. I mean, how did you navigate that on one screen? Kind of just hope that the cars were going where you guessed they were going?
Oh yeah, we had that first wreck, I think it was. I think it was Josh got loose down the front stretch there and was basically coming right for my door, and I was holding my breath to not die there, and luckily we got by it. So it can be tough at sometimes, but kind of just got to trust the spotter and get through all the wrecks when they happen.
Yep, and luckily you got through that unscathed, able to walk away with the runner-up finish. So Jeff, before we let you go, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank, either watching at home or, of course, the sponsors on the car that allowed you to get that P2 tonight.
Yeah, we got to thank everybody that keeps this league running. Obviously, you new to the broadcast this year. Thanks for jumping on and replacing their booth in the booth, obviously on the racetrack now in the race car. But Souza Media for being on the car every week, as well as the Analyzer and Triad, as well as my spotter, Brandon Pierce, up there on the box every Monday night. Even when we both think the race isn't going to go well, we keep going the whole race long until we get wrecked out. And sometimes we get lucky like we did tonight, and sometimes we struggle. But it's always good to have these good nights to start the season off, and we're looking forward to next week wherever we go.
James, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
I copy, man.
Alrighty, man. Picking up the win in race number 1. Able to get that win and I believe lock you into the playoffs. How does that feel? And overall, how does it feel to walk away with the checkered flag here at Phoenix?
Yeah, it feels really good. I'm really glad to get the win. I thought I had one of the better cars. Then when that first caution came out, the pit road opened really late, and the pace car didn't pass me yet, so I didn't know if I'd get a penalty or not. So I stayed out, and then I got mired back in 15th, and took 2 tires on the last 2 stops to help me get some track position. And I don't know. I guess I feel a little bad right now, even though I got the win. Is on that last restart. I started higher on the bottom lane, and I didn't really know that I should start lower, so that was my fault if I messed anybody up on that. I was just trying to maintain my pace speed, 55 miles an hour for half a lap, so it is what it is, but glad to get the win.
Yeah, I tell you what, James, you're one of the better cars here tonight. Definitely one of them to beat, especially on the short run pace, even with the 2 tires. I mean, how different did this car feel on those 2 tires? Luckily, you kind of felt that. Like you said, you took 2 tires, the stop before the last, and of course that last one taking another 2 tires.
Yeah, actually, the takeoff speed was really good on it. I did a little practicing with my teammate Richard earlier today and took 2 tires, and for about 10 laps you can actually maintain, and then it just goes the other direction. I was getting really loose on the long run with the 4 tires. After probably about 20 laps, it really freed up on me, especially through 1 and 2. It got free on me, but with the 2 tires, it was actually just really snug on exit. So I could still get in the corner. I could still kind of attack. I could still kind of roll the middle. I just kind of lost speed on exit, but luckily, it was a short run, and I actually felt more comfortable running the top through some of the corners. So I thought if I had to run up there to protect, I could have done it.
Yeah, it seemed like that was one of the better places to pass, able to carry a little bit more momentum, let's say, on the top side, and definitely able to put that power down a little bit better on the top side. How did you navigate these corners? It seemed like it was very loose, especially off of turn number 2, and I would think it would have to be even looser with those 2 tires.
No, yeah, the two tires actually snugged her up a lot on the long run. That's when Max was really catching me. It was just getting really tight. But no, it was a really fun setup. I enjoyed the car, enjoyed the setup where you could get loose or tight. I don't know how everybody else was, but early on the race, watching Trevarthen and the other guys, it didn't seem like they were getting loose behind me, and I was definitely fighting the wheel sometimes coming out of 2. That's why I kind of like that higher entry, just to cut it and diamond it off and then just have a straighter line so you didn't have so much wheel in it when you got in the gas. I thought that kind of helped it out a little bit.
Yeah, that seemed to really work for you well here tonight. So with the Scrambler series, taking different cars to different tracks, what car are you most excited for when you see it on the schedule?
Probably the next gen. I just think there's just a lot going on with the shifting and then just how it drives. Um, it just kind of fits my style the most, just kind of saving the tires and being able to shift and not put too much wheel in it. And then I think you can kind of move around a little bit more. The trucks are probably my least favorite because I just think they're just so even and they don't have the power. Even though the next gen doesn't have the power, you still kind of have to drive it. And like I said, it got loose or tight. The trucks typically just gets tight on you. So the more next gen cars that I can be in, I definitely get happy with that.
Yeah, these cars definitely fun, especially with the no side force. We saw it bite a couple drivers here tonight as they got loose off of corner exits, but James, you kept that car underneath you and kept a flying pace, able to walk away with the win. First time talking with you, I got to ask, what's your sim setup like? What do you got for wheel pedals, and maybe what are you looking at?
Oh, shoot. Okay, let's see what I got here. I have the R-Seat S1. I run the old school original Oculus. I tried a newer one. I think it was a Dell brand. I hated it. I went to the second generation Oculus. It broke, so I'm back to the old school original Oculus. The Fanatec wheel and pedals, and then that's kind of my setup.
Nice. So another driver, fan of the VR. I assume once you went to VR, you never looked back.
For sure. I mean, I wish just hitting the buttons, it's all just muscle memory. So if, something moves, like my keyboard moves, or if I miss my mouse, something like that, it can kind of mess you up. But I just think the peripheral that you get just running through everything, I think it's the best way to go. It's really weird. None of the pro guys, like, they don't really use VR. They're all, mostly, triple screens. But I think there's a lot of us out there that we do run the VR in our league, and I do like it.
Yeah, a lot of people switch to VR, really enjoy it. Just like you said, the more visibility you get, able to move your head that little bit more. And a lot of people like it, makes them feel a lot more immersed into the Sims. So, James, down here in Victory Lane, once again, huge congrats on the first win this season. But before we let you go and continue to celebrate down here now in Victory Lane, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank to pick up this checkered flag here tonight.
Yeah, definitely got to thank my teammate, the 01 Richard Murdoch. He sponsored the race, the Adventures in Pixels 100. We did some practice. He just had some untimely cautions that really hurt him, but he had a really, really good pace. Want to thank Turn 3 for everything you do. I definitely checked the broadcast out tonight. And our sponsors that we had the Feeney Call, Sim Racer Hub, Celeratus, and then all the drivers. It was a great turnout. I thought it was a really good race for kind of the setup. And then I did want to apologize once again if I did mess anybody up on the restart, especially Max. I 100% did not purposely run him up like that. Like I said, I was just trying to maintain my pace speed, and I did want to start higher, but if I did push him up, that was my apology, and I will see everybody next week.
All righty, James, a pleasure talking to you here tonight. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again, especially when these next gens roll on around. So you have yourself a great rest of the night. Go celebrate down in Victory Lane, and I'll join you once I wrap up here in the booth.
Thanks, sir, man. Thank you again.
Alrighty, folks, that was James Skelton down in Victory Lane. And I say let's wrap up this Claws Up Charters post-race recap as we go through tonight's finishing results. James Skelton picking up the win. We just got done talking with him. In second, we have Jeff Souza. Rounding out the top three will be Max Thierald. Fourth going to Zach Mitchell in the 8th. Fifth is Chris Hammett in the 6th. Sixth is Dalton Williamson in the 61. Seventh is Jason Wells in the 64. Finishing in 8th is Eric Stout in the 12th. Ninth going to the 98 of Ryan O'Danny. Rounding out the top 10 is the 62 of Ethan Troutman. 11th is Richard Murdoch in the 01. 12th going to Ken Allen in the 81. 13th is the 93 machine of Roger Muth. 14th is the 40 machine of Rob Higgins. Rounding out the top 15 is Will Kirk in the number 9. 16th will be Tim Combs in the 17 machine. 17th is the 38 of Brandon Feeney. 18th is Bob Higgins in the 30. 19th going to Sean Single in the 11. 20th is Michael Trevarthen in the 2. 21st going to the 15 of Payne Johnson. 22nd is the 13 of Josh Buckley. 23rd is the 88 of Sean Butler. Then Doug Neal in the 77, finishing 24th. 25th going to Trent Potter. And then rounding out the field tonight will be Donald Bennett in the 31 machine. Once again, got to give a huge shout out to all the viewers viewing live here tonight. Got to thank all you guys. Got to thank everyone that chimed on in the YouTube chat lands. Give me something to talk with you guys about. And of course, all the series sponsors that make it happen. That being Checkered Flag Auto Supplies, Celeratus Legal, the Feeney Call, and then Claws Up Charters. If you want to find out more about this league, be sure to check them out at redlightracing.com. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth from Turn 3 Racing Network. Be sure to check out Turn 3 throughout the week as we have a lot of great broadcasters, a lot of great series, and a lot of great virtual sim racing to cover. Be sure to check out Premier Setups if you're looking for some open setups and some official stuff. And yeah, we will catch you next week, March 11th, for 90 laps around Rockingham Speedway in the Xfinity cars. That will be a fun one to watch. Going to be a very driver's track. You won't want to miss that. Everyone, take care, stay safe, and have a good one. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.